With San Francisco wrapping up their final preseason game against the Las Vegas Raiders, several players on the offensive side of the ball really impressed, including their rookie selections Jacob Coing and Isaac Guerendo. So in this video, I'll break down their performance among other players that really stood out, but starting out with the rookie running back Isaac Guerendo. In this most recent draft, he was ranked as the Combine's most athletic back. He comes in at 6 foot, weighing 221 pounds, and he ran his 40-yard dash in a blistering fast 4.33 seconds. And while this video will primarily focus on the offensive side of the ball, I think this special teams play really shows off the explosion Guerendo offers, not just their offense, but their team in general. But as a running back, I think Guerendo makes a lot of sense to change the pace back and showed off great vision in this game, which was kind of a question mark entering the season. As we watch this play, for instance, Guerendo not only does an excellent job of identifying the cutback lane, but hitting it hard. And thanks to his crazy athleticism, he is able to actually get the edge on this defense and pick up 6. In a similar way on this play, Guerendo is able to identify the linebacker filling the hole, so he cuts it back and not only does that, but breaks his tackle along the way, and I love how he finishes his runs. He's looking to punish whoever's in front of him. And while I like this mentality, I do think he needs to improve with his pad height. And overall, I think Guerendo will be able to make this adjustment. Throughout this offseason, he's really showed off great coachability. To start this offseason, for instance, he really struggled at identifying holes and then shooting them hard, but now he has no problem with that. He's also a perfect fit for Kyle Shanahan's offense because he offers positional flexibility because he was recruited to be a wide receiver coming out of high school, and he was a pretty good one. Outside of Guerendo, Jordan Mason is clearly San Francisco's number 2 back, and honestly would start for a lot of teams across the NFL. What's really surprising to me is the leap he's made from last year to this year. He's just so much more complete of a back. He's not really relying just on his size to make all of these plays happen, but here he shows off his great vision and cutback ability, cutting it back twice on this defense, and then he shows off why he's San Francisco's closer. You can grab a hold of him, but he's going to drag you for a couple of yards at least. And while this is a great run for Mason, it also sets up San Francisco's offense later down the line. Now you can do play action fakes way more effectively, and in the fourth quarter, defenses often struggle to continue to tackle the 225-pound bruiser of a back that's been hitting them all game long. But I love how Mason isn't just reliant on this run style. Here, for instance, meeting this defensive back in the hole, he's able to spin off of him, seeing that he's trying to go low. And he's even able to keep his feet underneath him, showing off the great contact balance he has as a back. He's also taken strides in the passing game where he's improved as a receiver. Here, you can see Brock Purdy targeting him as his checkdown man, and rather than just picking up a couple of yards, Mason jukes out 2 defenders and then nearly picks up the first down as well. And with Christian McCaffrey still recovering from his calf injury, I think it signifies San Francisco should mix in their talented number 2 back, especially in these goal line situations where he just scores. Outside of Mason, San Francisco's undrafted free agent rookie back, Cody Sher, also had himself a pretty nice day. Like the other backs I've highlighted, Sher also set up good cutback lanes, like on this play, then did a good job of getting north and south rather than just dancing around. And then on this play, Sher turned a seemingly negative play with a defensive end in the backfield into a positive one. He's able to break this arm tackle, and then I love how he accelerates through this play. So while Sher might not make San Francisco's 53-man roster, I do think he's an excellent practice squad candidate that can truly develop over the next couple of years. Moving off Sher, I thought Patrick Taylor had a couple of nice runs, and like Mason, showed off great ability to just run through people. Outside of the running backs, the rookie wide receiver Jacob Coing looks like he can be a true difference maker. Like Guerendo, Coing offers a much needed speed element to San Francisco's offense, running his 40-yard dash in 4.38 seconds. And on this deep pattern from Coing, you can see how he creates tons of separation thanks to his speed, but what I really love is how he goes up and attacks the ball in there rather than just waiting for it to come down to him. And while 4.38 speed's impressive, I would argue what's more impressive about Coing's game is his quickness. When you watch his slant, for instance, he sets up this DB with this stutter step and then just gets out of his break almost immediately. Cowing's routes are frankly some of the best I've seen out of a rookie, and he has a true understanding of how to utilize his speed to his advantage. He's not just running as fast as he can all of the time, but rather knows how to challenge defensive backs. When you watch this play, for instance, where Coing scores the touchdown, he's challenging this corner by faking like he's running a corner route, and as soon as he bites, he comes back hard on the in-breaking route. And unlike some speedsters who really struggle with their hands, that doesn't appear to be the case for Coing. The concentration required for this touchdown grab is just absurd, for instance, and Coing was able to do that, so his trajectory for San Francisco is just upwards. Outside of Coing, I thought Deebo Samuel had himself a nice outing. On this play specifically, he does a good job of beating this DB with his double move and then goes up and attacks this ball. And while Brandon Ayuk's still not on the field, I think it's encouraging to see Deebo Samuel in such good shape. He really hasn't been in this shape since he was an all-pro player. As far as the receiver filling in for Brandon Ayuk, Chris Conley, he also had himself a pretty nice play on the day. On this play specifically, with the Raiders in coverage, Conley does a good job of crossing this other defensive back to give him tons of separation. And then once Brock Purdy finally does find him, he does an excellent job of extending his body to bring down this catch. And if Purdy would have been able to find Conley just a bit sooner, this probably would have been a touchdown, as Conley runs his 40-yard dash in 4.35 seconds. In a similar way on this play, Ronnie Bell does a good job of creating separation on this play action pass and is able to bring it in from Tanner Mordecai. Trent Taylor also continued his strong showing throughout this preseason, catching several passes and nearly winning the game for San Francisco at the end. Outside of San Francisco's wide receivers, I thought their tight ends had themselves a really nice showing. Specifically, I thought George Kittle continued to show he had one of the better connections with Brock Purdy on the team. On this play specifically, Kittle does an excellent job of taking this simple curl and turning it into a first down for San Francisco's offense. These are the type of positive plays that many people won't see as wow plays, but they're what keep your offense moving. And what's really impressive about this game from Kittle, it's after he's coming back from a core muscle injury that had him lose 35 pounds, but you really can't tell a difference. On this corner route from Kittle, for instance, he not only shows off the great speed he's been known for, but also the ability he has to make these crazy jumping acrobatic catches. And while Kittle is great, San Francisco is still looking for their true number 2 tight end, and while it appears they may roll with Eric Saubert to start the season, I'm extremely interested in their second-year players Braden Willis and Cameron Latu. Willis, for the most part, does appear a lock for the 53-man roster, as he's San Francisco's primary backup fullback. And in this game, he also showed he could be an effective receiver for San Francisco. On this play specifically, I was impressed by his body control and his ability to actually bring down this pass. And then when you watch Willis in this hook or curl type play, he does an excellent job of fighting for additional yardage once initial contact happens. Regardless of how impressive Willis has been to me, San Francisco's second-year tight end Cameron Latu has made things interesting with a strong showing this preseason. Heading into this year, it was a real possibility that Latu was going to be cut despite being their third-round pick last year. He frankly was struggling to bring down passes and was struggling to learn San Francisco's complicated offense, but this year he appears much more comfortable and had a couple of nice plays in this game. Specifically on this corner route, I not only like to see his speed and acceleration on display, but also him hold on to it despite getting hit pretty hard. He's also no longer making the easy seem overly complicated. On these flat routes, for instance, he's just catching it and then going up the field. In the past, you would just see him drop it or maybe even fumble on a play like this. But ultimately, these are just some players that stood out to me on San Francisco's offensive side of the ball against the Raiders, and I want to hear who stood out to you. It would also mean a ton to me if you could like and subscribe, and as always, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.